Welcome to Working with Creatives. In this piece of the capsule, we're going to talk about how to interact and work with creatives in a way that makes the process fun and efficient and ends up with a great result and goodness for everybody. Ultimately, what this is really about is helping turn you into a really great client so that you can be the best client and everyone will brag about getting to work with you and how it was so fun and amazing. And then all of a sudden you'll have creative people lined up around the block, all around town, trying to work with you. Working with a creative person should be fun, collaborative. There should be a relationship there. It should be mutually beneficial. We should help each other. There should be a leader in the process, and all of it should make each other stronger. And so here's a couple of tips that we found that make those processes less painful. So the first thing is to work on a mood board. A mood board acts as a visual translation tool. And so in working on a mood board, there's a couple of thoughts that I want you to think of. Allie goes into greater detail earlier in this capsule where she talks specifically about how to build a mood board and then demonstrates what it looks like to design it. This is a little bit about how you should think about it. So you need to spend your time doing your homework on the upfront. The more time that you invest at this stage of the relationship with a creative or with an artist is going to save time everywhere else. So be really specific in the descriptions of why you like the things that you do, and feel free to make multiple mood boards. You should have a mood board for packaging that you love, websites that you love, graphics that you love, advertisements, images. All of those things should be there. And let them make mood boards too. If you're working with your creative, sometimes we have clients where they'll send us a mood board, and just to make sure that we kind of know what they're looking for, we go through and construct our own and kind of explain what we're thinking of. We ask them to pick stuff that they like or things they don't like. All of it is a mood board is just a visual translation tool. The second thing would be to calm yourself, to be able to handle your own emotions. So artistic, creative processes can be stressful. So know where you care and where you're just insecure. So we sometimes do branding for people, and folks might feel like they can't live up to that, or they feel like maybe it looks too much. It's too out there. It makes too much of a statement. When that might just be really an insecurity that's kind of creeping out because you're a little afraid of putting yourself out there. You're afraid of what other people might think of your brand if too many people notice. But then there's also places where you just have preferences, and it's okay to have those preferences. Just know the difference between, are you being insecure, or is this a place where you actually do care? As you're going through the process, we always tell people to get a good night's sleep, eat, do things that help you feel energized and creative, because even in a revision process or a feedback meeting, it is nice to feel vibrant and alive in those. And because creativity is emotional, that all of this comes from an emotional place, and really good artists feel and can create strong emotional responses. The other thing I would like to encourage you to do is to notice and share what you like and dislike. Be really clear on the things that you love and the things that you don't love. As you're reviewing work with your creative or your artist, being specific is better than being generic. So saying something like, could we try and add more yellow to that green, is different than I don't like that shade of green. And so if you can think of the more specific that you can be, the better. Also understand that you don't need to say everything that's in your head, but that you can get to the point. There's no need to just brain dump all the time, especially if you're working with a less experienced creative or less experienced artist. They might not be as experienced in handling all of that feedback. And then as you work with more seasoned professionals who've done this, gone through the process a number of times, it's okay to just dump everything that's in your head. And then work on communicating better and not louder. So if you feel like an artist is working with you and they're not understanding what you are thinking, I would encourage you to just maybe try and communicate what you're thinking in an entirely different way, rather than try and be louder or making stronger statements. Often when you're working with a young creative or a young artist, they're they don't they might not have a really strong sense of project management. Larger creative firms have a good sense of processes and project management, and they can lead that process. But if you're working with an artist who maybe is a little less experienced, maybe looking for more work in their portfolio, you need to be a person who leads the process. So a couple of ways that you can do that. You can create and stick to mini deadlines. And so, just like a good project manager would break up a large project into small pieces, you can do the same for your artists. You can get your homework done early and do it well, so that if you're writing copy, or if you need to get them specs from a printer, or if you need to get them some kind of information, do that way ahead of time so they have plenty of time to get done what they need to get done. Be really clear on the project with them all the way through. Be really clear about when this project is finished and when it's done. Oftentimes projects can drag on, and that's when they can become frustrating. And if you have a clear sense of this is the project is done now, then you can help lead this process and make things go really smoothly. There's a frustration that we have, and I think I probably put this in here just because it happens sometimes, and folks will say things like, "I know I'm being annoying, but," or "I know this sounds like I'm high maintenance, but," and so if you can be the person when you start to use those phrases with artists, it makes their side of the job not fun, because it's not fun to just take care of somebody who feels like they're just being annoying. What's fun is to have a collaborative professional relationship where giving feedback is part of the process, and you're allowed to do it, and you should do it, and you should be clear and communicate really well. And being clear about that might be something like saying, "I want you to capitalize all the letters," versus asking an open-ended question like, "Should we make these capital?" Uh, if there's specific things that you want done and that you want to guide, be sure that you can explain all of that to your artist. And the last piece I want to talk about is how you can pay and make it worth their time. So if you do really well, pay them more than was agreed upon. So if your business takes off, or you book a bunch of new work, or something amazing happens for you, compensate them. You can even go back to somebody a year, 2 years later, and pay them for work that they did a while ago. It will mean a lot. It's respectful, and if you're getting a big discount on the upfront, it makes sense. Famously, Nike paid an artist $35 for their Nike swoosh logo, and the owner of Nike didn't really care for it that much, but he just moved on and was like, "Well, this is good enough. We can use it." And then I think later the story goes that they went back and they actually gave her stock options, so she got paid pretty well. The other thing that you can do to make it worth your time for your artist is to refer them work very directly and aggressively. And so that might look like, it's one thing to shout out somebody on social media, and that's fine, and that's something that you can do. But it's something else to send an email introduction to a friend who you know needs their help and would really enjoy that artist's work. Again, like I said, it's okay to brag about the artist, to tell other people about them. Give those artists an experience. So if there's something special that your business does, or if you're the type of person who has just depending on whatever your business does, is there something that you can do? Maybe it's not money, but maybe there's some kind of experience that you can give to your artist. The other thing would be to pay attention to their art, to participate in other ways besides just hiring them for things. So as you see them progress and get better over time, comment on it. Tell them that you see them pushing and doing cool stuff, and notice their work. It means a lot to a person. So you can also let them have all the creativity they want. So if you're in a logo process with somebody and you really just want a bulldog in your logo, tell them that, and then let them do anything they want to. Or if you're like, this is my name, I want it to feel like luxury and high end, and other than that, you can just do what you love. Let them have as much creativity as they want. It'll be a great relationship. And the last thing is just make it easy. If you can make it easy for them, you're going to be really happy with what gets done. And a lot of times artists love to, when a project is easy for them, they can take that extra time and energy and experiment and make something that is above and beyond. So if you want to, hop in the comments below. Let me know how you've worked with an artist and things that you found that help make that process go well. I know there's some designers and other illustrators and developers and photographers in this group. There's people who make textiles. There's all kind of artists in this group. So if there's anybody who has worked with an artist and or who's been an artist on the other side, and you appreciate when clients do certain things for you, why don't you comment below? Peace.